everyone's going to give Kanye West the credit for it. Well,
Of
absolutely
course.
wasn't. That was years later. It was the Numero company who bought the tapes off the producer.
Fair
went
play
through
to
them all.
fucking Kanye for finding
No, absolutely, and
something
that
like
brought out big. No, that would be the reason that loads of people went and
Would know about it,
and bought
yeah.
as well. Because there's only so much a label can hype
Yeah.
something they found, and we're going to find that a lot in this podcast. If labels find something and they hype it as much as they can, and so that's Father's Children from '72. Who's your one?
One that I have, quite honestly, 4 lines of research done on.
This is going to happen with this music as well, though. It's going to happen.
It's a guy called Ify Jerry Crusade. Now, Crusade, when you go looking for him online, you'll find his name spelled with a C, you'll find his name spelled with a K. The song is called Everybody Likes Something Good.
Everybody does like something
They
good.
do, yeah. They'd want to.
Unless miserable cunts. They don't like something good. They like only bad things.
Yeah. So this song kind of got a little bit famous in... This song was recorded in the 70s. Nobody really... Trying to find details on this track is just... It's impossible.
But this is the meat that we're getting into.
Yeah.
Some of these are going to be dead ends. That's fine. That's the idea.
There's some I have loads of information on. This is absolutely my least amount of information I have. So this song is from the 70s. And Ify was a Nigerian guy from Lagos. So what happened, there was a civil war in Nigeria in the late 60s. And post-Civil War, there was this explosion of music where like Western influences and European influences and American influence start soaking into the country. And they start hearing...
It's just such a fantastic mix.
It's mad.
It's because you got the African mixed into it.
It's
and it's
fucking
just
insane.
It's such an incredible mix.
Yeah, like this song.
I'm a massive fan of. Well, I'm a massive fan of Nigerian funk. I couldn't tell you a huge amount about it, but I know. Well, I stick on a compilation. There's loads of compilations came out in the mid 2000s and stuff like that, and they are so interesting.
That's where this one kind of came. This was put on about. There's one famous compilation called like Lagos Explosion or something like that. It's called.
Yeah,
and
I actually touch on it later.
Yeah,
so I have the names. Don't worry.
And so this got famous. I think it was like
Nigeria 70 was the big one.
Yeah,
the big compilation.
That was the big comp. I think this might have been on that as well. And then there's like Lagos Explosion. And I think because this song was so, it wasn't really sampled that hard in kind of modern hip hop. But I think that when in the early 2000s these compilations came out and people start finding new sources for samples, people start talking about songs that could be sampled. And I believe this is one of the ones that people start talking about a lot. So this is just fucking, it's batshit mad. It's got this weird mix of like funk and psych rock and soul.
Like you were saying, when all that music came in around the same time, people didn't, it wasn't staggered in their conscious.
It just
over
exploded.
Years. It all got mixed together.
By the looks of it, they went from having essentially zero external music to having access to almost everything in the world that had happened while they were fucking killing each other. So all of a sudden, peace descends on the nation. Fucking record shops start opening. They're able to get a hold of soul records, funk records. They're hearing what's happening and happened in Motown and Tammy and Stax and all this kind of shit. And then all of a sudden, people who have instruments start hearing music that they've never heard before. So they start having a crack at it themselves. But they're not thinking in terms of soul and funk and rock and psych and whatever.
They're still musicians that have been musicians for years. They've still got their own way of doing things.
So they're just hearing weird formulas for writing songs and they're hearing it all at the same time. It literally just happens. You'd be like, if we can't, like, we done a Timmy Schmidt fucking job and just came out of the time capsule, you know what I mean? Out of the bomb shelter. After like fucking 20, 30 years of madness, and we've just heard everything that's happened. Yeah. Someone says, here's Spotify.
Your brain would snap.
You'd go batshit mad. And a lot
It'd
of
be
people.
an exciting time for about a week before you'd have to take a break and just not listen to any music.
Exactly. So again, literally that's all I have. This is a weird 70s mix of Nigerian funk, soul, rock, psych, whatever they could get their hands on. And it all just came about at once. And as you said, there's compilations. The early mid 2000s just exploded with compilations full of this stuff that had been made and just sat on shelves for so long. And now the world, in the last kind of 10, 15 years, the world actually cares about world music again. Yeah. Like for so long, it was just, you heard an instrument that wasn't a guitar, a drum or a bass or whatever, or even a keyboard. And you went, I don't know what the fuck. I'm not, you know, it's not for me. Yeah. It's not for me. But in the last kind of 20 odd years, we've actually started taking an interest again in what other instruments and other countries, what their take is on stuff. That's Iffy Jerry Crusade.
It's a great song.
Sea,
That does come up in compilations a lot.
yeah, it's a super song. It actually sounds pretty good. The recording is very interesting. It's obviously their take on what they'd been hearing. So their version of Levels is quite interesting, where they place some instruments in the mix. But it's I like it a lot, and it was one of the ones that jumped out to me when I was doing research on this.
Yeah.
Right, what's your next one?
My next one is Lewis. It's just called Lewis on this album, from the album L'Amour, 1983.
Right.
And the song is called Like to See You Again. Now, not a lot is known about this guy. We'll get into it. More and more started to come out a little bit.
Yeah.
He went under the name Lewis Ballou in the second album.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. His real name is Randall A. Wolfe.
That's a better name,
It is a better name.
isn't it?
I think so, rather than just Lewis.
Lewis Below.
So, this album hadn't had any interest at all from anyone until 2007. A vinyl collector was in a flea market in Canada and picked up this album called L'Amour. It's like, Lewis L'Amour, I don't know. So we started asking a few people and they started digging and it became a thing then. Like, who is this guy? Now, there's a good chance that this album was never even put into shops.
Really?
Into shops even. Because there was that few of them around. This album is kind of a ambient, spooky, kind of super slow with really soft kind of synths, and it's almost like it's actually really good, which is why people would go digging. If it's a bag of trash, you wouldn't even really think too much about it. It's almost like a little bit like Tom Waits sang by the ghost of Nick Drake or something like that, and it's kind of it's dreamy and a little bit unsettling. So they think that the album was self-funded by him, by Lewis himself, and produced by a guy called Bob Kinsey. As far as anyone knows, this is his first album.
Okay.
And it was released on an unknown label called Raw.
Which sounds like it's his.
No, I think what it is there was a place in Hollywood you could go and just get an album made up or have people ready to do stuff for you and get it done yourself in a matter of a few days. It's one of those drop in, I've got some songs.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what he did with the album or why he did this. Because there's absolutely no promo for it at all. So the story started to dig a little bit deeper. And the only real first person they could get in contact was the photographer who took the picture of this kind of, you have to check out a picture of this kind of Lewis guy. He's kind of slim, good looking blonde dude, but the album's like black and white. So this is where it gets starts. This is where I think people got really interested. They found out that the photographer that Lewis hired was a guy called Edward Culver. Does that name sound familiar to you at all?
A little bit.
Edward Culver, right, drove 400 miles to Lewis under the pretense he was getting 200 quid to take these album covers or the photos. Now, Edward Culver.
What year is this?
This is 83.
Okay.
Edward Culver is one of the biggest hardcore photographer of hardcore music.
Yeah.
So he would have done circle jerks, gig photos, and album covers. He photographed Damaged by Black Flag, the cover of that.
Oh, yeah.
China White, Wasted Youth, T-Sol or TSOL, how do you pronounce T-Sol?
TSOL.
TSOL, Adolescence, and your favourite band, Social Distortion.
I hope they die in a fire.
This guy is so super well known. And it's the only real grip people had on who is this guy is that they had Edward Culver.
Yeah, who's known.
Known. Well known.
It is known.
So they got on to him and all he really said was, this lad, right, is some guy who lives in the Beverly Hills Hotel. He drives a white convertible. He dated a girl that looks like a supermodel. And more importantly, the cunt check bounced.
Oh, Dort.
Yeah.
That's how you get a Dort name.
Dort name.
Do a little Dort name on yourself.
So they're digging and digging and digging. They don't know anything about this, right? So people start to get really, really interested. Who is this Lewis guy? Why did he make this album? It's actually good enough to care about.
Yeah.
It's very slow and it's very nice to listen to actually. So a label called Light in the Attic started putting, they knew he was from Canada, so he's Canadian.
Yeah.
So they started putting up posters around going, we want to release this album. So they want to copy it and repress it. So they started putting posters up around going, do you know this guy? We want to get in contact with him. So they put posters everywhere, weren't getting anywhere. So they just went, fuck it, we'll we'll shoot it out there. And that'll be the quickest way to find out who he is, because he'll come looking for the money. So they put it out there anyway. And it sold quite well, actually. And it got really, really good reviews as well. And as soon as they did that, someone went, oh, I have another album by this guy.
Really?
A second album. And the cover of this album is even madder looking. It's just him with a white Mercedes in a white suit, blonde hair, dashing looking dude, and a private jet in the background. So now the internet is going, right, we're getting to the absolute bottom of this. Where is he releasing these albums? Nobody knows anything about him, but he has albums out there. The second album is called Romantic Times. So Light in the Attic, I think, released that as well.
All right.
But in that time, they started to find out a little bit more about Lewis Ballou. And people were saying, oh yeah, he released a few religious. He went religious. So he went religious, started releasing a few other albums. This is through other producers that, you go through producers, they'll know, they remember shit like that. So a guy called Aaron Levin from Weird Canada and the guys from the record label Light in the Attic, Matt Sullivan.
Yeah.
They finally tracked him down. They tracked down to where he was and found him just drinking a coffee. And they went up and went,
You're your man.
You're your man.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like laughing, going, yeah, that's me, yeah. So they're like, can you tell us more? And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Really?
Just, I'm no interest in talking about my music at all. So they were like, now this is what they are telling us. They refuse to name the city that they found him in for his sake.
Yeah.
Because it's still all mad cunts now looking for this lad. So there's a lot
like Jeep Bro. Do you remember Jeep Bro?
Jeep Bro, yeah.
They found him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people along the way had lots of stories about him. They got in contact with his family. His family didn't know anything about him anymore. It was
Really?
estranged from his family.
Just left.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Don't know any of the models that he was dating. All them, it's just crazy. So they did get a chat to him. They didn't say much about the meeting apart from the fact that he smiled and went, oh, very good, and signed a few copies of it.
Yeah.
They said to him, right, we have your money. And he went, no, I don't want it.
Really?
20 grand, a check.
Fuck.
Your man Matt Sullivan apparently had a check in his pocket for 20 grand of royalties.
And he didn't want it?
Didn't want it. Anything to do with it.
That's fucking
Did not want to talk about it. This lad is Eddie and the Cruisers job. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So what they've done is now they've decided to stop pressing both of the albums because he's not taking the money.
Yeah.
So they feel they can't do that. Now, they have a few copies of
He must have a few bob, though.
Well, he worked in the stock market back then. Now, a lot of people, other producers that did a few things, some of them have said, we think he's a con man.
Oh.
Now, that's just a rumour.
And he doesn't want his name out there.
Yeah. So when you work in the stock market in the 80s...
Yeah, you're probably dirt. You're probably
you might have done some
dirt.
things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know.
The singing Wolf of Wall Street, like.
So there's a few copies of Romantic Times left, so I bought one last night.
Oh, yeah.
After reading this, I was like... Under the religious stuff, he went under the name Randy Duke, which is, again, threw loads of people off.
Still a better name.
Yeah. Now, here's where I found another article. And just before I went into it, apparently there's an interview with him. They got him to talk about it.
Okay.
And
Recently?
Yeah. I'd say this was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, still.
And before I clicked, I went, no, I think I want to leave that there. I think I want to leave that there. Because I read a few comments going, I wish I'd left it there.
Yeah.
So this is up to you now, folks. If you want to listen to more about Lewis Ballou, you can go listen if you want. Now, apparently people have said there's 2 or 3 more albums of his style out there. And there's producers going, we've heard other stuff that is even better than these albums under his name as well out there. Now, when I started reading the thing, it was like, we sat down with Lewis and I went, fuck, I think I'm good. I think that's the perfect ending. Like, if you were making a movie about this, right, about just searching for this guy and you found him and he smiled, signed a copy, refused a check and walked off with his coffee. That's where I want the story to end.
Leave the mystery there.
I want the story to end there. Now, you can go further with it.
Yeah.
And I probably will eventually get fucking, want to know more.
Some evening you'll be bored and you'll go digging.
But I just like that there's a guy releasing albums that are getting quite good reviews now. Like Father's Children. The reviews were good.
Yeah.
They're like, now, there's always going to be an element of, oh my God, the story, does that affect my review of the album? But you can listen to this album through. It's very sparsely delicate music. I just don't know why he did it. why he did this. Did he want a career? Didn't seem like